Hello again. Let's talk about Pi-hole. Okay, my stress about Pi-hole is again with my friends who don't understand it and call me. And they're like, "Hey, what can I do? I heard about this thing. I was Googling. I want to do this. I really want to do this." So I help them set it up. And then I get contacted. And they're like, "Look, I can't, my thermostat can't connect through. I can't get to this website. I can't do this." I'm like, "Look, go check the logs of Pi-hole. Just look and see if it was blacklisted." Um, and it's a very frustrating process. So let me forewarn you, Pi-hole will block a lot of stuff. The defaults of Pi-hole will cause issues in your network, and you're going to have to take some time to debug some of the sites that you might go to that might be blocked. It's easy to do it, but it's just repeating the process if you're having issues. So there's a couple of things that have screwed up some of my friends. So when you do port blocking, outbound port filtering, when you are selectively whitelisting outbound ports, which you should be doing, and they have Pi-hole, it's hard for them to kind of discern, well, what's causing the issue. So with that forefront notion, and I'll do another video about doing outbound port filtering, super easy. Remove the default rule in pfSense. um, yeah. So, all right, let's jump into installing Pi-hole and setting it up correctly in your network and identifying why your devices are not connecting to it. God bless you, Chrome. We're going to identify that issue too. All right, so let's jump to the other screen. All right, so I'm going to do this in a container. Container just uses less resources. You may have, I'm kind of picking up from one of my other videos. So password, monkey, confirm password. Monkey. Do I have my SSH key file in here? That's fine. Hostname, Pihole. Template, I'll use, you know what, most of you guys are using Ubuntu. It's fine, we'll use Ubuntu. Root disk, 8 gigs, plenty, unless you're doing a lot of logging and you like want to keep your logs forever, which I do sometimes. So yeah, but this demonstration, 8 gigs is fine. I'm putting it on my SSDs and pfSense because God, that sucked last time. My rule, no less than 2 cores. Memory, it's a container, so I'm only going to give it 1024. Let's match the swap. Network, we want this to be in our virtual environment. And oh, I didn't think about that. This might cause some issues. Yeah, let's set static. So 192.168.1.2. It can be anything that you want it to be. Elgato Wato 192.168.1.1. No VLAN tags, no rate limits, no firewall. DNS, use host settings. Confirm, yes. Start, yes. Okay. Truthfully open, I have not tried to do this. I have not tested this. I'm making this video blind, and we're going to see if you can actually install Pi-hole in a proxmox container. Let's see how bad this screws up. Okay, task okay, cool. Pi-hole, look at that, start starting. Console. Pi-hole login. All right, so this would be root and monkey. All right, welcome to Ubuntu 19. Okay, pi-hole.net, go. Click install. And copy this. Where'd I go? Can I paste? Hey, paste. Okay, click enter. Okay. Oh, fun. Okay, fine. Apt install curl. Yes, I'm sure. Let's talk about that error really quick. So, seriously, if you run into errors, just read what's in front of you. For the love of Pete, if the amount of people and amount of tickets that I have for people that just don't read what's in front of them, if I had $1 every time I've had those tickets, I'd probably have a free Apple Watch or a free iPhone or something like that. Okay, command curl not found, but it can be installed with simply typing apt install curl. What did I type? Apt install curl. What did it ask me? Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. Look, it has installed. Mostly. Does this container even have? Okay, we have ping. And we have resolution. Okay. Oh, yeah, let's talk about this really quick. Okay, the reason I always ping an IP address first is because I want to get around testing DNS. If you ping a domain name like google.com or anything else, NASCAR, Yahoo, whatever, you're now including other factors into your network test because your test now has to resolve the domain name into the IP address. And then it also now has to start the pinging. So now we have a couple of factors going on here. Is there issues with DNS or is there actually connectivity issues? Because if it just comes back and it says fail, what part of this failed? So if you ping an IP address, I always choose 1111 because it responds well, and you can ping flood it a decent amount if you're doing some latency tests, and it's really good at responding because, you know, Cloudflare. So if you ping this, great. Move on to pinging a domain name. I just choose google.com. It's familiar to me. I know it's going to resolve if there's not a DNS issue. If that starts to respond as well, great. You now have network connectivity, the basics. Okay, so yeah. All right. Again, error. Unable to fetch some packages. Maybe run this. Cool. So let's do it. Apt get update. Left the voicemail correctly. DATE. Some package there and is therefore disabled. Okay, so did this actually install? Okay, figured it out. The image is broken for whatever reason. So I've switched over to using the Debian container. So let's continue. Okay, so yeah, that one works. The Ubuntu container test that I created, stop that. Yeah, I'm sure. And yeah. Come on. Destroy 103. Perfect. Okay, goodbye. Pihole console. Cool. We're already logged in. So back to where we were. I did have to install curl. Again, apt install curl. It went through like a champion. Where's the page that I want? There it is. Cool. Paste the code that we got from the Pihole website. Hit the enter key. Let's go through this process. Again, I still don't know if this is going to completely work in a container, but we're going to find out. It'll transform your device. It's free. We already have a static IP address. You know what? Select your upstream provider. Google's fine. I'll use all the default lists. That's fine. I'm not running IPv6. Yeah, I'll just leave it on anyways. This is your current. Do you want to set it up as a static? No. Enter your desired interface IP address. Did I just screw up? I think I misread and clicked too quickly. It's a common problem with myself, and it's gotten me in trouble before. Yeah. Do you want to use your current network settings as a static IP address? Sure, it's already static, whatever. Do you want to install the web admin interface? Please, install the admin interface. Do you want to install the web server? Yeah, sure. Do you want to log queries? Yes, I'm not a tinfoil hat. Show me everything. It's going through. Okay, cool. So now it's actually installing. Literally, it's a click-through installation. It's really not that big of a deal. And it seems to be working in the container. We're going to find out for real in just a moment. Kitty cat? Kitty. Oh, hello, child of mine. I don't have children, I have cats. I have 4 of them. This one is called Subnet. I'm not kidding. I've named my cats Subnet and Sox Proxy. And then the other 2 that came from the girlfriend, they're named normally, Jasper and Molly. Say hi, buddy. Is this done yet? Cool. Don't pass this page. Don't click go. Don't do anything until you copy down this darn password. SSNEP0D6. Okay, copied. Cool. I'm going to put this on a sticky note on another screen. Okay, cool. Okay, so don't do what I just did, because now that just went and resolved your password, so you might want to go and now change that. Hey, look, it even displays it now here too. That's kind of cool. Okay, so we have to go to our Windows machine because we installed the Pihole in a virtual environment. So if we now go to 192.168, did I? Of course not. What a wonderful video this is turning out to be. Holy bejeebus. Darn it, Ryan. Cool. Log in. Are you kidding me? Can't show history because my clipboard isn't synced. Great, so now I have to type this manually. I thought I copied and pasted this. Apparently, I did not copy and paste this correctly. Oh, it's an O. How presumptuous of me. SSEPOD6. And yes, please remember me. Go away. All right, look at that, total queries. Okay, you're going to have queries right off the bat because the system itself is making queries. It's what happens. Okay, ton of domains on the block list, which means some of the stuff that you're going to want is probably going to be blocked, although it does a really decent job right off the back of doing it well. So as of right now, nothing. I know that they have also made changes so that it can now start showing you devices that's on the network and how many queries you got, and this is kind of helpful. It's actually really helpful, so you can see, what some devices you've set static or just come with a static DNS. There's ways to fix this. So, okay, 192.168.1.1. Yeah, that's just not going to get queries because that's the firewall. That's going outbound. We'll let the firewall itself be its own querier. That'll be fine. .1.100. So that's this actual Windows PC. Come on, PowerShell. You're going to type for me? I had a glitch. I had a glitch while I was recording. So I paused the recording so I could fix the glitch. And I'm not talking to you. I spent a half hour doing a tutorial, finishing the Pihole tutorial here, and none of it got recorded. So I've tried to undo everything that I did so I can quickly run through what I was just speaking to myself about. So, all right, let's continue. Okay, so I didn't feel like resetting Pihole or redoing the installation, so I had already changed my computer over to point it to Pihole. But let's for the sake of conversation, think that our computer still isn't pointed to Pihole. Actually, suck. Of course, when it pours, it rains. All right, I'll just stick in here. So get DNS client server address. Okay, so right now, oh God, that's terribly small. All right, so right now the IP address is still pointed at pfsense. So we're not using Pi-hole at all. There's a couple of ways to fix this. We either use Pi-hole as the DHCP server, or we use pfSense. I'm going to stick with pfSense. There's a lot of features missing in Pi-hole's DHCP server. For the basics, just doing little home stuff, it'll work great, and you can use that. But we're not. We're going to set this up in pfSense. So let me show you how. First of all, let's just go shut off the DNS resolver. So that just stops responding to queries, but we now have to tell devices where to go ask for their queries. Come on, finish loading. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. All right, cool. DHCP server is not currently enabled. Why? Relay. Duh. Okay, cool. If we scroll down, we're on our LAN interface. Make sure that's the one you're toying with. Right now, there's no entries into DNS server, but by default, it uses the interface's IP address when there's no entries into here. So we're just going to put in 192.168.1.2. It's there because I've typed this in already. Remember, again, I went through this with no one listening to me because I don't know how to click the record button, apparently. So we'll save this. So now when a device gets an IP address, it's going to get a DNS server address of .1.2, which means your device is going to ask Pi-hole for its DNS queries instead of pfSense. So ipconfig renew. Done. And now the server address is .1.2. Okay, cool. So this now means that if we go to, first of all, our queries are at 272. Very quick way to check if we're in use, go to a couple of web pages. Google, Yahoo, NASCAR, MSN. Cool, so we've opened up a couple of web pages. So there should be at least more than 4 DNS queries. There's probably going to be close to 100. Yeah, at least 100. So we have a ton of queries blocked, a ton of queries that we've now made. And if we go back to network, last query was at 219, less than a minute ago. So that's definitely working. Any other device that you put on the network is now going to start requesting to your Pi-hole too. But wait, some devices have hard-coded DNS servers. So there's 2 ways to deal with this. You either internally forward all of the requests back to Pi-hole, which we can definitely do. Sorry for cracking my fingers. And we can also block outbound queries on DNS ports as well. So let's go through that really, really quick. All right, first thing I'm going to do is create an alias list for ports. I'm going to only add port 53, which is DNS plaintext, 853, which is DNS TLS, DNS ports. This is a ports list. We're going to save this. Please match the requested format. Fine. You want an underscore, whatever. Apply the changes, firewall rules, LAN, not on your WAN. Okay, so firewalls. If you don't already know, let's talk about the basics for 30 seconds. Firewalls operate with rules, as you see here. Rules are processed in the order that they are created. So in pfSense, it's a top-down list, which means that as your packets go through, they're going to go processing through the rules through the top down. So first rule is anti-lockout, which is basically there saying, hey, we cannot create a rule that stops us from accidentally accessing pfSense's interface from the LAN. You can disable this in system under general. The next one is allow anything, anywhere, anytime, any protocol, any port. This is where we want to put our rule in between this one. I won't let you even click on it. In between the first rule and the second rule. So we'll click on add to the top of the list. We want LAN, we want IPv4, protocol TCP UDP, source. We still need to allow our Pi-hole to request DNS, and our Pi-hole is still on our LAN. So we cannot leave this at any. So we're going to create an inverted rule and put in our Pi-hole here. This confuses a lot of people. Let's stop and talk about this. An inverted rule means not. So I want to let anything that isn't my Pi-hole That's what that not is. If it's not Pi-hole, match this rule. So if my PC, if Chrome, if my iPhone, whatever is on your network, does not have the IP address of Pi-hole, don't let it through. Well, that's not true. It will match this rule that we're creating. Okay, so let's get back to it so we can create the blocking part. Destination, anywhere, because there's a lot of DNS IP addresses out there, but we will block the ports. So we need to be in other, which is right where we are, but instead of typing numbers, we're just going to type DNS, and then our alias lists will start showing up. So we'll click on DNS ports. We don't have to put in the to field, and we'll just leave it empty. So let's talk through this really quick. Any traffic coming in the LAN that is TCP UDP that is not this IP address and is going to any proper DNS port, which is 53 and 853, we will block this. So we have to click block or reject. We'll talk about later about the difference between block and reject. Block, actually, you know what? I am going to do reject. It's going to speed up. Excuse me. It's going to speed up how fast your device actually realizes that it can't get out. So block DNS except for Pi-hole. We'll save this rule. And look, it's at the top of the list. It can't go to the very, very top because this is a forced rule by pfSense. So again, your packets are going to come in here. If you're using Chrome or anything else that has a hard-coded DNS, it will hit this. It won't be allowed outbound. It'll, you know, if it actually is configured with the IP address of Pi-hole, it'll request Pi-hole. And Pi-hole is the one that is actually allowed outbound with its DNS queries from behind your network. So this is how you can stop hard-coded DNS. We'll click apply. And with pfSense is really nice because it actually shows you how many sessions and how many bytes are hitting this rule. So, you know, for the internet rule, which is the allow all, I'm going to make another video on this. Please go and watch it and realize why you should not leave this rule here. This rule is just fine for any mom and pop home that wants to tinker around with pfSense. But if you've installed pfSense, do something more with it. So you can actually see what devices are trying to reach out and bypass your Pi-hole. You can click on this list here and you'll start to see what is going into that rule. For some reason, it didn't filter properly. I'm not sure why, but I'm not going to dive into that. Anyways, that's how you set up Pi-hole on your network, redirect your DNS queries to it with pfSense, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your week.